By mirrors gleam and the candles flame, step inside, this world's not tame. With haunted tales and lashes grand, you've just crossed into ghosts and glam. Welcome. They say that grief can drive a woman mad. But what if madness is the language of the spirits? Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to Ghosts and Glam. It is a sister podcast of Ghost Girl Diaries. I'm here today because I had some amazing real life dreams of Sarah Winchester, which is odd because I've never really done a lot of research on her. And the dreams were her coming to me saying she wanted to teach me to scry and teach me automatic handwriting. Now I'm going to be honest with you and upfront. I'm actually a little fearful, or I was fearful of the Winchester house. I'm not now. I was under the assumption of everyone else, which was there were possibly hundreds of spirits there due to all the rooms that she built, tore down, and rebuilt yet again. But that's not quite the story that I got when channeling and experiencing Sarah's energy. So sit back, put me on the big screen on TV if you want to for the podcast, or listen to it on Spotify. Today we're going to do my makeup and talk about some ghosts and glam. This is a side hack, by the way. Clear calamine lotion has been my best friend, I've learned, for summer. You add it to a cotton pad. You literally just put it all over your face. If you have oily skin or you live in a hot environment, and I'm not kidding, let it dry down before you put your foundation on, and you will not sweat your foundation off for the rest of the day. It lasts like 8 or 9 hours, not even kidding. You do have to use that as your base or your primer. Oily skin girlies, thank me later. Now I want to jump right into this. We're talking about Sarah Lockwood Pardee was her actual maiden name. She was born in 1839 in New Haven, Connecticut. How in the world did she end up in California? Now, of course, she was known as the widow and heiress of the Winchester fortune. I mean, it was a massive fortune back in the day. William Wirt Winchester was his name. His father actually owned a really well-known t-shirt fashion company, oddly, and he inherited that money and didn't really know what to do with his life. So his decision was, well, if the Civil War is going on, I believe there was a lumber shortage at the time due to the Civil War. He wanted to start like a construction business. But since there was a lumber shortage, he ended up switching to guns, basically providing rifles for the military. Lo and behold, I mean, he became one of the biggest gun makers in that era. And when he sadly passed away, the fortune was Sarah's, which is crazy to think back in the day. You know, I think people too always wonder, why didn't she remarry? Ooh, look at the candle. There's no air on, and the vent is over here. I think she's here. Now, I've done a scrying session and an automatic writing session with Sarah. I actually filmed it last week. And she loves candle magic. And that candle is, I can't even reach it. I mean, it's another arm length away on top of one, so. Sarah, if you're here, can you really glow that candle? Okay, if you're here, stop flickering the candle. Can you stop? Oh my. That is so amazing. I'm so happy that you're here, Sarah. Okay, if you're here, make it flash again so that we can confirm that it's you. Make it really flick. She is amazing. She is amazing. And I hope that I channel her story correctly because I really think she's wanting to get this out. I wouldn't even be shocked if I start channeling during this session. Okay, so let's talk about her a little bit. I have the chills all over. It's just so amazing. Sarah, I am here. Feel free to communicate in any way. If you want to make noises when we're in here, I think the audience would really, really love that. Okay, let's just keep going. This is so cool. It's so amazing. Now, it's crazy. I want to step back just a minute, okay, before we keep going, because, you know, once again, being honest, I was not the biggest Winchester fan. And the honest to God, and I know that sounds crazy, the honest to God truth behind that is the media has made me afraid of it. That's just the truth. I heard things about, you know, the horror movies. There's been literal horror movies made about this woman, you know, like they depict her as this creepy gothic girl. Hey, maybe I'm a lot more like Sarah than we want to admit, okay? She's this creepy gothic girl that sits in her house and channels spirits and talks to the dead at night. Once again, maybe I have more in common with Sarah than I want to admit. But, you know, when it's turned into a horror film, it doesn't look like something you want to, for me, I want to face. You know what I mean? Like, I don't like scary movies. I know that sounds crazy, but I don't. I love Goosebumps. I love Tales from the Crypt. I love Elvira. You guys know that. Horror movies, I'm not a fan. I mean, like, I like Michael Myers. But if you're talking about, like, oh, I can hear her talking. I can hear her. She's on this side. She's on this side of me. Hi, Sarah. I'm not sure what you said. Now, I have a microphone near my neck, okay? But I just want you to know that if you get close to me and say something, it's probably going to make me jump. So you're more than welcome to do that, but don't get scared if I jump because I'm still learning my abilities, okay? I hear a lot of motion going on over here. I think she's very excited to be here. Anyway, I'm not a horror fangirly. That's just the truth. Like, really scary, even paranormal shows, like Blair Witch, I admire so much because they made so much money. It cost like $12,000 for them to make, and they made millions off of it, right? Same with Paranormal Activity. Scares the ever-loving shit out of me, okay? So I was really shocked when I woke up the next day, you know, realizing that I had a visitation from Sarah Winchester because remember, I'm a dream walker with my psychic medium abilities, right? I can access the dream realms very easily. It's probably my strongest ability, okay, is going to sleep and waking up on the other side. And I'm going to be real. I never once thought about or considered, oops, I think she just touched my back and it made me jump a little bit. I felt very gentle, like I support you, I'm here. Maybe she's about to speak. Maybe that was a warning. Go ahead, Sarah. I definitely still hear motion on this side of me. When she came to me the next day, I was just so shocked because it wasn't, you know, I feel like sometimes when you call in spirits, that's one thing. You call them forward. It's a whole nother when they just show up knocking at your door. I was in the dream, and I remember seeing her, and she was talking to me about scrying. And, you know, I said, I don't know how to scry. I don't know how to do automatic writing. And she said, it's like a bite. Do you hear that? That sounded like gunshots. We're talking about Sarah Winchester. I'm sorry, I'm stuttering. Okay, I live in a very safe neighborhood. I have never in my life heard gunshots. No freaking way. This has to be paranormal. I hope to God I caught that on audio. Also, it makes me nervous if there's guns outside, but I mean, it could be fireworks, right? We're close to the 4th of July. That's odd timing, though. Just for the record, that's odd timing. So anyway, she comes to me in this dream. I said, I don't know how to scry. I don't know how to do any of this. And she said, it's like a bike. You just have to train yourself and learn how to go, how to do it. You got to do it over and over again. And it's just practice. You'll get better each time you do it. And I said to her in the dream, I remember looking at her, I said, are you Sarah Winchester? How I knew that, I couldn't answer you. Because obviously, I've seen pictures of her, but it's not like a muscle memory type of thing. And she goes, yes, I'm Sarah Winchester. So there's been no fireworks, guys. I'm not kidding you, okay? Like, fireworks are legal here, but there's been none. Why right now at 11 o'clock at night, when I'm talking about Sarah Winchester, does it sound like guns in the distance? I'm sorry, there are no coincidences. Thank you, Sarah. You are magic. Anyway, I want to talk about her life. I'm a little shaken up because there's just like so much energy going on right now. Where is my face powder? I will have a list of everything that I'm using also in the description. Now, she had a really interesting life. She also had a daughter, her daughter Annie, who died as an infant. Her husband's death was in 1881. He died from tuberculosis, and she inherited, which was 20 million at the time. It would have equaled about 600 million this day. Did you hear what I just said? If she were alive today and it were that money, she would have inherited $600 million. She was I can hear her whispering. She was an extreme aristocrat. I mean, no wonder she was able to build, the Winchester house the way it looks, was with all of her money. She had an endless supply of money. Now, oh man, I'm really just shocked that this is all happening right now. By the time she was 42, Sarah had lost her baby, which is really sad. And her husband, died after the baby, and she ended up all alone. And, she'd moved, I think she'd had rheumatoid arthritis. Her family ran in her family. She also lost a lot of family on the East Coast from where she was in Connecticut. And so a lot of her family had died and crossed over. It is my personal belief, what I have channeled, that I need to get my blush out, and I'm like trying not to make sudden movements because spirits don't like you to move fast sometimes when they're communicating. Anyway, Sarah, it's my belief that she wanted to communicate with her family that had crossed over, and that included her unborn child, or her infant child that died, as well as her husband. So I truly believe that was what started her expressing herself in the occult. Now remember, we're talking the late 1800s, okay? Technically, Salem is over at this point, okay? Because Salem was, 1692. That doesn't mean witch hunts are still over, okay? And especially strong, powerful women, still to this day, strong, powerful women are a problem, right? And I truly think that Sarah didn't want people to know her occult practices because she didn't want to be hung at the stake. Once again, I'm not saying it was still relevant at that time, but there was still a lot of fear at that time. Ooh, I can feel her really close to my back all of a sudden. There was still a lot of fear at that time going on, revolving religious trauma. Like if you weren't a part of the church or an active part of the church, you were sort of looked down upon. So I think she started her spiritual practices to connect with her loved ones on the other side, but it kind of became a bigger thing. Now the theory, or what has been said, is Sarah at some point went and saw and met a psychic, possibly a local psychic. Obviously, she lived a little bit further south of San Francisco. And apparently, allegedly, it was said that this psychic told her that she had abilities and she could communicate with spirit on the other side. And, that Sarah had shared her experiences with, some of the spirits. Once again, I think she kept her mouth shut regarding her family. I don't think people really knew intuitive and in tune she was. At the time, she would have been labeled a witch. I mean, anyone in today's day and age that communicates with spirits or even does paranormal, you're a witch, technically, by the 1692 standard, right? So she kept her mouth shut. This psychic apparently told her that yes, you have an ability to connect with the other side. However, if you are communicating with these spirits, you need to do construction on your house. I believe it was in Sarah's defense that she was building these rooms to cross spirits over. However, the psychic told her and scared her out of fear-based trauma, like always, that if she stopped building, she would die. So that was why Sarah built her house literally 24/7, 360 days a year. Days a year. Yes, I said that right. Sorry. On several occasions, I was channeling the name Daisy, and until I did research, I didn't realize who that was, and it was Sarah's niece that lived with her. All right, sorry. I'm starting to channel, so I can feel it. I get a little bit confused. When I start to channel, I can feel myself go into the passenger seat, if that makes sense. And then I start getting confused and I start saying strange things. So if something comes out while I'm doing this podcast that doesn't sound like me, it probably isn't. Because oftentimes I don't remember what I say until it's over. Okay? Sarah, okay, you just stopped the candle. I want to know, are you trying to channel through me? If you are, can you make it flash? Are you trying to communicate through me? Yes. Okay, I thought so. I'm going to allow you to do so, but, just remember I'm doing a podcast, so keep it clean and try to, say things that will allow the viewers to understand your story, okay? All right. Now I want to go back to, the historical context. So the gun was the gun that won the West. It was popularized in 1873. It was the rifle, okay? Unfortunately, if we're going to get really specific here, millions of deaths worldwide were associated with Winchester firearms. Now, some people said, the townspeople labeled Sarah as crazy, right? I'm trying to decide which way we should go with the makeup next. I have my base on. I think we need to go in with eyeshadow next. I'm gonna give another spritz just to make sure my makeup lasts. I think I'm gonna add a P. Louise eyeshadow base. And you know what else? I just got the new Jolie collection in. By the way, it is stunning. It's almost like a cyber goth sort of collection. Did you hear the gun again? I don't know. If that were fireworks, would it be that disproportionate where they're like, that's been a while since the other one. Do you know what I'm saying? I don't know. And if it were fireworks, wouldn't it be more than one? I'm just saying there are no coincidences, that's all. Anyway, I got the new collection from Jolie Beauty. This is the Smoke Show palette. It is stunning in low light. She did a mini palette collection, and it's very goth grunge alternative. Look at those shimmers. I want to go all out using this today. I haven't even used these yet. I love Jolie. I know her in real life. She's a beautiful human. I'm a huge supporter. I'm very much a makeup snob, so when I say I love a product line, that's quite rare, and I mean everything Jolie puts out is phenomenal. So anyway, let's get back to Sarah Winchester. I do feel like there was parts of her that had felt a little bit of responsibility towards the deaths that happened at the... Pretty sure I just heard her full-on voice, but it's hard because sometimes when my abilities kick in, they sound so real. I don't know if it's my psychic abilities or if I'm hearing it audibly. Sometimes it's hard for me to determine. Do I need to just sit and be quiet for just a moment? Sarah, were you trying to say something? Would you like to say something? I really think that she had somewhat of a spiritual toll being tied to her of, she wouldn't have had this said fortune if it wouldn't have been for at the hands of all of these deaths. I think that spiritually she felt like a very sense of responsibility on her hands, and I do believe she was connecting with the spirits that were, died at the hands of these guns. Now it's interesting, during my scrying session, I did ask her, I said, do you believe you were crossing souls over that died at the hands of the guns? And she said yes. You can see this on my Patreon page, okay? I asked her how many souls that she believed she had crossed over, and she said between 200 to 250. I also asked her in this session, I said, how many entities reside within the home now, currently, inside of the Winchester house? She said none, only her. I asked her if she had crossed over. She said no. I asked her if she had intended to cross over. She said no. So a lot of people that go into Winchester claim like they're experiencing all of these energies. I don't think that's true. I think it's her. I also asked her if she liked the current owners of the Winchester house. She said yes, she adores them, which is really good because we've heard some bad things about people, obviously, from other locations. So that made me really happy to know that the people that are currently running it, that she cares for them. And she just thinks that's her house, and she has no intention whatsoever to cross over. I think I'm going to go in with a darker black next. Actually, no. You know what? We're going to dip into this taupey shade just for a little bit of blending, and then we'll go in with the black. Now, I had to write this down because it's so large. I was not going to remember this. So, San Jose, California, 8-room farmhouse, just a farmhouse, expanded into 160 rooms, square footage over 24,000 square feet. Rooms include 40 bedrooms, 2 ballrooms, 47 fireplaces. Once again, she likes fire magic. She stopped it right as I said it. Sarah, if you love fire... Wait, stop it. Stop the candle again. Stop the flame. Thank you. If you like fire magic, make that thing go. Tell us how much you like fire magic. Oh, so she used the fireplaces to communicate with spirits. Okay, there we go. Even in my last session with her for Patreon, she had said she preferred candle magic, and I thought that was really interesting. So a lot of people thought she was just automatic writing. No, I think it was much more than that. I think that this girl is, I mean, look, in her day and age, if they called her a witch, it would have been probably an abusive term, just because of society. Nowadays, to be a strong, powerful woman who's connected to source and you're doing good, like crossing energies over, that's not a bad thing, right? That's a beautiful thing. You know, don't get me started on the witch trials, because you guys know I will rant in saying that I really think that it was a way for society and religion to take power away from women. So don't get me started on it. You know how Kat and I both feel about it. But anyway, I think Sarah was very talented, and I think she was completely connected to her higher self. And I think that she sort of had to hide that away from society, which is why most people thought she was kind of this weird, creepy recluse. So now, why would a house like that have 47? I just heard a door close, and there's no way, because I have this door shut. My doors in my house can't really shut, so. 10,000 windows, stairs that go nowhere, doors to walls, construction nonstop for 38 years from 1886 to 1922. Sarah believed that she had to keep building or she would die. Now, she did truly believe that, which is such a shame that, you know, a psychic would instill that fear into her. I think that the psychic probably instilled that fear in her in hopes that Sarah would come back for more readings. I think she knew that Sarah had a lot of money. So she fed off of those fears to sort of use herself as somewhat of a prophet to Sarah. I don't know where that information just came from, but I hope that I said that correctly. But I think she spent so much time in that house, she never really wanted to leave. Now, a lot of people describe the house itself as like a labyrinth inside, like an actual maze, because sometimes the stairs go in different directions. Now, people in that time period, or allegedly, or servants had claimed that she slept in different rooms to confuse the spirits. But what I had channeled the other day was not because she was trying to necessarily confuse them, because she was hiding from them. I think that her abilities were so strong and she was connecting with source and spirit constantly that she almost didn't know how to turn it off, to turn that ability off. So I believe Sarah was sleeping in different rooms at night so the spirits wouldn't find her and they wouldn't bother her and wake her from her sleep, because a witch needs her sleep too. You know what I'm saying? Some people called it a dollhouse for the dead, a Gothic seance in wood and glass. Sounds like a dream, an absolute dream. I just have to swatch a couple of these. Beautiful. Oh, they're just gorgeous and buttery. This one's like a full-on glitter. There's two. Oh man. There's two more glitters in this palette. Let's just... You know what this kind of reminds me of? The shimmers that were in the Jeffree Star palette. Like, this might be a good dupe. I know it's smaller, but, I mean, Jolie is just... Her quality is unmatched. I think I'm gonna go with this silver. Man, that is just... Look at that. That is gorgeous. Holy cow. You know, makeup like this just is orgasmic. That's all I'm gonna say. This is why I'm a makeup snob, okay? This is why. So many people are like, why don't you use, you know, Natasha Denona or all these big brands? Because they're not very good. I'm gonna take another silver just above the brow. It's a little more of a shimmery, see-through silver. That is Smoke Show. This is a gorgeous palette. And I know that I might be taking it a little far, but like, what else is new? That's just who I am. I'm gonna take this darker shimmer and just lightly add some to this outer corner. You see it? This is called Spotlight. Beautiful. You know, a lot of people said she was a recluse and didn't leave the house. I think she just didn't want to be seen or known by people. I think that she was very much a gothic girl of that time period. And I mean, she always wore black. And of course, the townspeople said she was constantly in, quote, mourning because of the loss of her husband and her child. I really think she was a goth girl. I think she loved lace. I read somewhere that her horse and buggy or horse and carriage was also black. And honestly, when you have adapted to this lifestyle of the other side in mediumship, first of all, black is known as very much a protective color of spirits. But also, it's just sort of part of the gothic lifestyle mixed with seance work. I mean, she had a seance room in that place, and that was where she conducted all of these communication sessions. Her reason for staying wasn't madness. It was just a lot of unfinished business that I think she believed she needed to do. I think she felt a sense of responsibility for the souls that needed help crossing over at the hands of the guns, and she was living this beautiful, lavish lifestyle, and I believe that was her way of paying back the price of her empire. It's a weird thing for me to say. I think that was channeled. Now, unfortunately, she was a part of a time where, you know, society, you know, religious fear, religious trauma sort of dismissed a brilliant grieving mystic as insane or just constantly grieving. And I just cannot get behind that with her energy. I don't believe that at all. I think she was very intelligent. I think she knew exactly what she was doing. And I think she also knew that she would be condemned for it if she didn't keep private and keep quiet. And I think that some of the construction workers probably saw what she was doing, like her seance rooms, and it was alleged that she would walk out of her seance rooms with, you know, plans for the next room or the next area. But, you know, to a normal person, think about it in our day and age now, you know, like those of us that are into dark, spooky stuff. Think of it, comparing it to Wednesday from Netflix. The normies don't understand us. And it was the same then. There just wasn't a title for it. Why would someone like us want to dress in black and communicate with spirits? Like, why would it be exciting to a normie to go into a graveyard and try to connect with the dead? That seems scary to a normie. Imagine being surrounded by 99% of them. We have the internet. Now we're lucky to connect with each other. But back then, poor Sarah was just completely isolated, right? God, that palette is just beautiful. I feel like I need to go a little bit more grayish. Normally I don't do that, so that must be just a little bit of a channel from Sarah. So I'm going to use Stone Fox. It's like a blue-gray lip liner. She's trying to be quiet in here moving, my guide just said, because she knows what it's like to be scared, poor thing. That's very sweet of you. This is a color by Jolie. It's Till Death. It's almost like a purpley grayish. It's very weird. I love this color. For Sarah, let's make it weird tonight. And then to finish the face, I'm going to go in with one size setting spray just to make sure that she doesn't budge for the day. I'd like to compare, you guys know I love Persephone. Let's compare Sarah's grief to the isolation of Hecate. Hecate's also deemed for being, you know, a creepy, scary witch who lives in the woods of the underworld. I commune with her constantly in my dreams. She's not. She actually is very loving. She's like an aunt to me. She's a beautiful soul, a beautiful spirit. A lot of people are like, oh, if you're going to summon Hecate in the spirit realm and the witches, she's dangerous, she's scary. She's very powerful, but she's not scary. I suppose she could be, any of us could be if you cross us. Similar to Persephone, right? Or the crone archetype of Persephone had to walk through the death and the dark night of soul, through, you know, the underworld, and then she reemerges as this dark queen, and she's scary, you know, in mythology. She went in so innocent, and then she went through trauma, and look what happened. Now she's this, like, it's the same Sarah went through the same thing. It's just, unfortunately, it's unfortunately just what society and religious trauma in particular invokes on us as humans. So some claim that she was mentally unstable. Others called her a genius, spiritualist, and a mystic, and that's exactly what I would call her. Paranormal actually encounters that happen are cold spots, disembodied voices, footsteps, apparitions in the seance room. I would die to go in there. I do believe there are portals in her house, and I believe that she somehow maintains to keep them sealed or barricaded off. So if you're getting a hot spot, and I've never been in there, so if you have, please let me know. I believe that there are hot spots because there are portals. I believe she opened portals for spirits to exit. I also believe that she used the doors to nowhere to enter higher realms, to basically escort these souls into higher realms. It's a literal portal, like the doors that go to nowhere and fall outside of the house. I think that she built those for them to basically cross over to the other side. The same thing goes for this. The stairs look scary. Oh my God, they're stairs to nowhere. No, they're not. They're spiritual stairs to a portal is what they are. Tour guides say that the house changes, the doors and dimensions are shifting energetically constantly. And I do believe it's because Sarah is still there using her power to ensure the safety of the owners. I don't know if she's going to ever intend to leave. I don't know. I think that she became one with the house and the house became one with her. There was a 1900s clipping that said she builds because the spirits demand it. A woman haunted not by ghosts but by guilt. Which I also don't believe that, once again, because it's only our nature as humans to demonize a woman that's powerful and connected to the spirit realm. So now I feel like we should reflect on everything that has been said and what we've talked about with Sarah. Was Sarah actually building a trap for the damned, like people claim, or was it a sanctuary for redemption? I would love for you to leave a comment, and I invite your theories to come in, especially if you have been there. Absolutely have to make she actually, when I did the automatic handwriting session with Sarah, she invited me to the Winchester house. You'll see that on my Patreon page. And she's going to be coming through, I assume, for the scrying sessions and for, the automatic handwriting sessions. I think she's going to be helping me quite a bit. There will be scrying sessions and automatic handwriting sessions behind the scenes on my Patreon page exclusively every week. And I think that we're going to start a series on haunted historical women, because I feel like this is very empowering and it's perfect for ghosts and glam. I'll make sure to include my socials, my Patreon, my links below so you can find me easily. And is it possible Sarah never left? Sarah, did you actually leave, or are you still here? Can you let us know through the candle right now? Can you make the candle flicker? She is still here. Absolutely. That's amazing. All right, let's chat about the ending of the widow's legacy. Perhaps Sarah wasn't building a house for the dead, but carving a cathedral for grief, so that no soul will ever be forgotten. She was indeed a light worker among us. She was indeed ahead of her time. And I like how every time I say something, she pauses the candle flame and then flickers it to agree with me. Do you actually agree with me, Sarah, with everything that I'm saying? I really appreciate that you're here. It's amazing. Maybe she wasn't actually running from ghosts. Maybe she was just guiding them home. As always, thank you for stepping into the haunted corridors with me. If you felt the chills tonight, don't forget to subscribe to all of my channels, including Spotify and YouTube, and leave me a comment and a review. It helps me to continue build this little strange world of ghosts and glam. And before I go, I wanted to share another sort of special message with you guys. You may have noticed that Kat has not been here for a couple of weeks, my co-host. We keep running into ongoing scheduling conflicts, unfortunately, and I know I've talked about this previously. She works full-time, and it has been really hard for us to get together. My absolute goal is to make sure that Patreon subscribers have access to a weekly podcast, Wednesdays first before anyone else. And I haven't been able to do that for the past few weeks, unfortunately, because Kat and I don't film sometimes until Wednesday or Thursday, and then it takes me a day to edit, and I haven't been able to get the podcast up until Friday. At this time, we're not entirely sure what the future holds. I would love for her to come on for maybe bonus podcasts. Maybe I'll keep those for Patreon subscribers only, sort of when she has time to, get with me on her scheduled time. Maybe we'll do every other week. I'm really trying to not overwhelm her. But just remember, Kat is always a part of this journey in spirit form, and I always hold space for whatever may come next. But at the end of the day, I have to keep going, and so does Sarah. Right, Sarah? We have to keep going, don't we? I mean, there's really just no question about it. And Sarah is my influence because she was literally channeling ghosts by herself in her seance room. What a goal. I want my own seance room. I want my own seance room like practical magic. For now, Ghost and Glam solo seance will continue because I think this is pretty cool. As long as we're inviting the good in and not the bad. Just you, me, and the spirits that linger between the portals. If you want to go deeper after today's episode and you want to watch my full scrying session, please do check it out on my Patreon page. It was about 25 minutes long, I believe. Until next time, fam, keep your candles lit, keep your mirrors covered, and your heart open to the unexplained. And I will catch you guys on the next one. I love you. Sarah, what do you think? As the spirits now fade, the glam remains. A touch of rouge, a ghost in chains. Until next time, don't break the charm. Stay glam, stay ghosted, and safe from harm. Until next time, ghouls.